Kenny Leon, you directed Mahalia, which was produced by Robin Roberts and tells the life story of gospel legend Mahalia Jackson. Did you already have a strong connection to her and her music before making this film?
Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you the quick short story is I had a play running on Broadway, a soldier's play, and March 12th when the pandemic shut everything down. And so understanding that live theater probably is the antithesis of COVID-19, like actors talking together on stage in a small place with 1,100 people. When are we going to come back? And so I came home to Atlanta, left New York, came home to Atlanta, and out of my own nervousness or uncertainty about when artists would really go back to work, I said, let me go back to something my mother started. My mother was a gospel singer, and we grew up in Florida, and we went to church 8 days a week. And we would always hear Mahalia Jackson's music in our home. And out of my own uncertainty, in March of last year, I just started playing Mahalia Jackson's music, just to feel calm. So I play her music 2 hours in the morning. I would pray for an hour, which I've never prayed that long. I learned to meditate, and then I would do my Peloton bike for an hour. I did that every day for 7 weeks, every single day, just to get back to some normalcy. And then in the seventh week, I get a call from Robin Roberts and Tanya Lopez to say, "Hey, we're interested in you doing this Mahalia Jackson film." And the last thing I had done for Lifetime was the Steel Magnolias project. And so it had been a while. And I was like, do you guys know that I have been waking up every day for 7 weeks, every day, listening to Mahalia Jackson? They were like, no, we weren't aware of that, but we want you for this film. And of course, I thought about it, called my mom. Mom, I have a couple of offers now. What do you think? My mom says, you can do anything you want, but you better do that Mahalia Jackson film. And that's how it came about. And I reached out to Danielle Brooks because we had just worked together on Much Ado About Nothing for Shakespeare in the Park in Central Park a year and a half ago. And I knew I wanted her from day one because I knew we needed an actor who could sing. We didn't need a singer who could act. And all along, Danielle had been thinking about this since she was 14 years old. And so when she said yes, and it worked out, we were off to the races. So to tell a story about Mahalia Jackson during the pandemic of 2019, about a woman who lived in 1918, she lived during the first pandemic. So, and then she lived through the Great Depression, and she lived through World War I and World War II. And then through this, she was Dr. King's spiritual confidant. So through the civil rights movement. And I said, if I were going to rename this film, I would call it Get Knocked Down 10 Times, Get Up 11. So that's my take on the film. And I tried to create a film where everyone could find themselves. So to look at this film and say, you know what? If Mahalia Jackson did this, if she got knocked down 10 times, if she lived through all of this in her life, who am I to complain about wearing a mask? Who am I to complain? I have food in the refrigerator. I have a car in the garage. And I was hoping that people would find strength and love and purpose for their lives by the film that we created.
And the film spans so much of her life. It spans decades of her life. What was it like working with Danielle Brooks to not only get into character as Mahalia, but also kind of to evolve her and grow her as she's playing her over the course of her life?
It was great, to try to get this 40 years of life, in 2.5 hours. And I thought that Todd Kreidler did a great job with the writing of it. But the key to it was the trust that Danielle Brooks and I had because we had worked together. So we just pushed each other every single day on set. And you keep in mind, we shot this, during COVID-19. So we were in Canada shooting. We didn't know a lot about how to not get the virus. So we were working in zones. We were designing shots that had to appear that there were lots of people when really we only had 20 people. How do you shoot Carnegie Hall? Supposed to be filled with people. And I thought that we did a great job of pulling that off. But it all starts with Danielle. She also is, like myself, she's a spiritual woman. We try to be. And so we were able to say a prayer before each setup. We were able to, in that whole scene with MLK and Mahalia Jackson, when they shared that intimate moment near the end of the film, I actually read from the Bible before we started shooting. I didn't plan that. I wasn't trying to push anybody in any particular way, but it was like the prop was sitting there. I picked it up. I started reading. Next thing I know, Danielle Brooks was crying. I step out of the scene. I say action, and then she delivers that scene. So Danielle Brooks, she's the real deal. As I found out last year, for her to play Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing, a role that is normally cast by thin white women, and she was a plus size beautiful woman who said, I want to do this role. And she was amazing. She's funny, she is truthful, she's game for anything. When she did the play in the park, Danielle was pregnant and she wanted to roll around on the ground. I said, and she didn't want anybody else to know that she was pregnant. Well, flash forward a year later, when we shot Mahalia, she brings her 1-year-old to Canada to shoot this. So not only is she a great, wonderful actress, but she's a beautiful, loving mom who is just set an example for everyone. I'm gonna spend time with my 1-year-old, and now I'm number one on the call sheet. I am going to never be late. I'm going to be all on time. I'm going to be focused, and I'm going to sing every song live. When we shoot the scene, we want to shoot the song live. And the fact that Danielle can deliver all of these songs through her instrument and can act in truth playing this role. I was extremely lucky. I was lucky also to have Jakina Calacango and Rob Demery and Jason Durden. And of course, I ended up playing the vocal coach in the film. And that came about because Danielle, it was a challenge to get American actors in Vancouver with the 14-day of quarantine. And Danielle said, look, Kenny, you're an actor. Can you please play the vocal coach? And I was like, get me a wig. All right, I'm here. Whatever my actors need, I'm there for them. So it was a great process. I think it's some of my best work. I love the challenge of designing shots during these challenging times. How do you do a big church scene with a choir? How do you do the tent revival? How do you do this scene? So we had a lot of intimate moments that were it not for COVID-19, they would have been big moments in public with lots of people around.
And you having a theatrical background, you've directed live musicals for TV. Did that help help bring out a lot of the kinetic energy and especially the musical performance scenes? Because those performance scenes are very physical in the sense that you could really feel Danielle Brooks as Mahalia really singing with her whole body.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably my best work to date, because everything I've done before now prepared me to do this production, because I did Hairspray live for Universal and The Wiz live, and because I've done Broadway plays with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, and so I've done comedy. So I put all of that in there. And so Matthew Head, who is the musical composer, so we were able to create new music. We were able to, it's what I said. I said, Danielle, we want to do 70% of Mahalia Jackson and 30% of you. It's Mahalia Jackson as Danielle Brooks being inspired by Mahalia Jackson. So it found a way for her to really be that character, to sing all of the songs, to make it live. So all the things I've learned about the live musicals, I applied that with creating this. And the main thing was we needed everybody to be on the same page. We needed a tone of authenticity. And Danielle, she delivered. I'm in her debt.
Congratulations on your work on the film, and the work you got out of Danielle Brooks, the performance you got. And thank you so much for joining us, and we will bring you back on in a few to join the rest of our panel.
Thank you.